So when they wanted to put this project out, Universal told Def Jam, well, Lil Wayne still didn't give us his album yet. So if y'all want to put this project out, we're taking 95%. And Def Jam, y'all could take 5%. Juelz and Lil Wayne was supposed to do an album one time. And it was like, Kim don't want the Lil Wayne and Juelz project to come out. Yo, I don't know why he's stopping it, this, that, and third. And look, I ain't gonna front, this kind of like when we all wasn't on the same page.
You ever think about why that Lil Wayne and Juelz Santana collab album never dropped, even though everyone was hyped for it? Camron finally set the record straight and spilled the real reason that project never saw the light of day. During his sit-down on Talk with Flea, he laid out the messy truth behind the scenes, the part nobody ever told us before. Turns out, it wasn't some ego clash or hidden beef like people assumed. The real issue came down to the label, Universal. Back then, the way the percentages were lined up made no sense at all.
And I'm not talking about myself or Juelz or anybody. I'm just talking about in general. Sometimes people don't want to make sense. That's your favorite line, Sid, actually. When I'm making sense to you and you be like, I don't want to make sense right now.
He says that?
Yeah, he says it a lot.
Yeah. Shut up, Z.
See, I get it now, because that ain't make no sense.
Yeah.
What you just said.
Yes. Yeah, I don't want to make sense. He just wants to feel the way he feels. But that's probably one of the biggest rumors, though. And if y'all don't, Google Steve Garley and call his office. I don't mean to put all this pressure on you, Steve, but hit that nigga up and ask him.
Lil Wayne hadn't even turned in his own album yet, so when the idea for the joint project came up, the label basically shut it down. They said if the album dropped right then, 95% of the profit would go straight to Universal, leaving the artists with a weak 2%. Camron had to make the tough call, even though he knew fans would be disappointed. He wasn't about to let himself or Juelz get played like that, because in the end, that's just business, and it wasn't making sense for anybody involved. Camron broke it down even deeper and brought up Steve Garley, the lawyer who was handling business for Universal back then. And funny enough, the same guy had ties to Def Jam too. Cam made it clear that there was never any bad blood with him, saying, "We still good to this day." But when it came to that Lil Wayne and Juelz project, the numbers just didn't add up, and that's where everything hit the wall. And he explained how they had a joint venture deal with Def Jam, meaning if the album dropped, Def Jam would walk away with about 2 to 2.5%, while Cam and Juelz would only see the same, 2, maybe 2.5%. Meanwhile, Universal would keep a massive 95%. Cam said he went back to the label telling them how much the streets were waiting for the project, but they hit him with the cold truth. Cam, we love you, but we can't do that. And the reason? Lil Wayne hadn't even turned in his own album yet. The label didn't want to release the collab until Wayne handled that first, talking about maybe we'll revisit it later. They were basically saying no new project until they got their money back from what they'd already advanced Wayne.
And they say, Cam, we love you and all that, but we're not doing that. We can't do it. I said, but they really want to come out. He said, Cam, you listen, we're going to get 2.5%. And Universal gets 95%. But Steve Garley and Def Jam at the particular time didn't okay it. But I get the blame. Yo, Cam is hating. Cam don't want Juelz's project to come out. Y'all up, da-da-da-da. And I'm like, all right, fine, whatever.
Cam admitted that part was speculation, but one thing he knew for sure was this. The label's move had nothing to do with hate. Still, people flipped the story. They started saying, Cam's hating. Cam don't want Juelz to shine. When in reality, the man was trying to protect his team from a bad deal. He said, people don't really understand the backstory. And that's exactly why he's clearing it up now, to show it was never about ego, it was about ownership and fairness. What's wild about this whole story is how so many people completely overlook the business side of hip-hop. Everyone jumped to say Camron blocked that Lil Wayne and Juelz Santana album out of ego, but that couldn't be further from the truth. The real game was deeper than pride. It was about percentages, power, and timing. Cam wasn't being selfish, he was being smart. He saw how the label setup could wreck the whole project and decided to protect the artists instead of rushing it just for hype. That's not weakness, that's strategy. Most people in the industry would have chased the quick bag, but Cam played the long game, showing patience and vision when others would have folded. When you step back and really look at it, this wasn't about blocking success. It was about preserving it. Cam wasn't just thinking about himself. He was thinking about Juelz, Wayne, and the whole squad. That's leadership at its finest. And the fact that he's open enough to break all this down years later, that's rare in the rap game. and it proves he's always been one move ahead. This whole convo on Talk with Flea really exposed something deeper about how the music game actually works. Talent alone won't save you. Not if you don't understand deals, percentages, and timing. You can have the hottest record in the world, but if the paperwork's wrong, you'll still lose out big time. Cam saw the trap before it closed and chose strategy over hype, and that's what separated him from the rest.
So what happened is when niggas was doing the album, and I'm one of them niggas, me and you used to come to me with mad shit niggas talk about me, and I used to ignore it. Then I got to the point like, all right, you cool enough for me to explain shit to you, because I don't like explaining myself.
That right there is a major lesson, not just for artists, but for anyone chasing success. Whether you're in music, business, or content creation, sometimes the smartest move isn't the loudest one. It's the one that keeps your pocket secure and your name strong for the long run. Cam's decision might not have made headlines back then, but it built the foundation for long-term wins that still pay off today. And let's give him credit. He didn't hide behind rumors or let people twist the story. He faced it head on, breaking down exactly what went wrong instead of letting the gossip control the narrative. People love to say albums get blocked or deals fall apart, but Cam showed that behind every canceled project, there's a calculated decision. This was never about ego. It was about legacy and smart business. What's even crazier is how that one decision changed the way people started viewing Camron in the business world. For years, folks labeled him as just another rapper with attitude, but this story shows he was really a businessman with vision. He understood that protecting ownership and making sure the artists got what they deserved mattered more than chasing quick fame or fast cash. That's real power. It's wild because most fans only see what happens on stage or on camera. They don't see the late night calls, the contracts, or the fights behind closed doors that decide who really wins. Cam knew that if he let that Lil Wayne and Juelz Santana album drop under those terms, everyone involved would have been trapped in a bad deal. And once that paper's signed, it's game over. Instead, he pumped the brakes, saved his people from getting played, and proved that sometimes saying no is the smartest yes you can give. That's why Camron still stands tall today. Not just as a Harlem legend, but as someone who understood how to turn street smarts into business moves. Because at the end of the day, this game isn't just about rapping. It's about knowing how to move when the money's on the table. What's wild is how this whole situation still feels relevant today. You can see the same patterns happening with new artists who don't read the fine print before they sign. Cam's story is proof that if you don't understand the business, somebody else will control it for you. And you'll be left wondering where all your money went. That's why his move wasn't just smart. It was a blueprint for survival in this industry. It's crazy how fans sometimes judge artists without knowing what's happening behind those label doors. Backroom deals, split percentages, and advanced budgets. It's all part of a system designed to keep artists dependent. But Cam flipped that system on its head by calling out the imbalance instead of falling in line. That took guts and business sense most people in his position didn't have at the time. And look where that mindset took him, from rapper to mogul, from artist to boss. He built a reputation for moving with strategy, not emotion, and that's why his name still holds weight in every conversation about real ownership in hip-hop. Cam didn't just rap about hustle, he lived it. He turned knowledge into power and power into longevity, showing that real success isn't about the spotlight. It's about knowing the game inside out. That's not failure, that's evolution. What Cam did showed that growth isn't always flashy, and the smartest plays are often the quietest ones. At the end of the day, this whole story is a reminder that learning the business side of what you love is just as important as mastering the art itself. Because if you don't know how the system works, the system will work you. Cam learned that early, and instead of complaining, he used it to build his own lane. One where he called the shots. He turned setbacks into strategy and turned lessons into leverage. That's what separates legends from everyone else out here chasing the next viral moment. So the next time you hear someone say Camron blocked the Wayne and Juelz project, you'll know it wasn't ego. It was education. It was a boss move disguised as a delay. And now, years later, we can see exactly why that decision mattered so much. Looking back on it now, it's crystal clear. Camron wasn't blocking the bag. He was protecting it. He saw the trap before it snapped shut, and instead of letting the hype cloud his judgment, he made the move that kept the money and the power in the right hands. That's not greed, that's game. In hip-hop, that kind of foresight is priceless, because too many artists learn the hard way that talent alone doesn't pay the bills when your paperwork's off. Cam kept the bigger picture in focus. He protected his team, made sure every move made sense, and showed what real leadership looks like. That's not just street smarts, that's long-term business vision. It's rare to see someone who can play both sides, the art and the strategy, and actually win on both fronts. So when we talk about this story, it's not about what didn't happen, it's about what did. A masterclass in knowing your worth and protecting your brand before anyone else can take a piece of it. Now let me ask you this, if you were in Cam's spot, would you have dropped that album anyway just to please the fans? Or would you have waited like he did and played the long game? Drop your thoughts below in the comments. Hit that like, share this with your people, and make sure you subscribe. I'll catch you in the next one.